Hello and good evening. So, like any other hobbyist, I have over the years built up quite a bit of backlog of products I haven't painted. So, this time I'd like to talk about piles of shame in skirmish games. Let me just show you what I mean. So, the first thing I think of when I think of my pile of shame is Necromunda. I have accumulated a lot of stuff for Necromunda over the years. There's also Kill Team and Cursed City. Blackstone Fortress is a big one I still have to paint. I've got Blitz Bowl stuff, Space Wizards, and of course I've got some things I have finished and painted over time, whether it be you know Warcry or Kill Team or even WizKids stuff, which I have done. I've got some Warhammer stuff I've finished. But the thing is, the more we purchase, the more we have to do. For instance, Zombicide for me, or Fallout, Wasteland Warfare. I've got half of a Dominion box I still have to paint. I've got some WizKids things that I still have to finish off. And even worse is my Reaper pile. Oh, yeah, the Reaper pile. Along with some terrain that I still have to finish off. And there was my brief foray into Infinity, which I plan on going back to at some point. But the thing is, what I'm getting at here, including my other hobbies, is over time I've accumulated a lot of stuff. But the thing is, I don't like calling it a pile of shame per se. I'm more inclined to call it I'd say a pile of opportunity. And of course, as all excited nerds get, I had to pick up the newest version of Kill Team Octarius. Now, I have yet to open the box. Of course, I've seen what's in the box because, I had to watch the previews regardless. So, of course, after removing the huge amounts of plastic, we open up the box. Now, obviously, tons of plastic. First off, right off on top, you can see we got the measuring tools in the barricades, which those look pretty nice. Now, probably going to paint all the measuring tools up too, like other people have done here, because I kind of like it. And further on, of course, we've got terrain. I love terrain. Terrain is good. And I especially like Games Workshop stuff, even though, some people give them crap over some of their practices. The detail on this terrain is amazing. I like the small little bits and the small little things that they build into each piece of terrain. All the little tiny details you don't usually see. Like, for the garbage piles, they just, it's ridiculous that refuse looks so good. So, obviously, I've got a large project ahead of me. The different pieces of Octarius, definitely going to use it for more than just Kill Team. I have Stargrave in mind as well. And even better, probably going to use it for some role-playing games as well, probably maybe Starfinder or whatnot. So we've got here the bridges and the struts. Now I heard those struts, there's some issues with them, at least for the glue spots, but we'll visit that here in a minute. We've got two pieces of this, and now that terrain is out of the way, or at least I thought it was out of the way, we move on to the sprues. We've got some of the Krieg stuff here, plenty of las guns, and of course, as required, the shovels. Gotta have the shovels. Why do we have to have the shovels? I don't know why we have to have the shovels, but the shovels are there. So, this first sprue is orc stuff. And I gotta say, I really like the way the new orcs look. You know, they look really sneaky. So we've got both sprues of all the orc stuff. And moving on, the Krieg. I really like the look of the Krieg as well. And the thing is, I never really actually got into Warhammer. I've painted Warhammer for quite a while. I've collected a bunch of Warhammer. But I've never actually played any Warhammer or Kill Team. I got into buying the books for Kill Team and Necromunda before COVID, and unfortunately I was never able to branch out. But anyway, as you can see here, all these little details, I'm kind of pointing out all the little details like the wrenches in the little cubby holes there. And then one thing I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get two of these, because that one has a huge hole in it, and the other ones that I've got for all the other boxes, I actually plan on framing and mounting them, so I don't want them to just sit around. Anyway, we've got the rules and the simile instructions, you know, the core book and the Octarius book. And then, of course, we've got the cards, requisite cards, and dice. Although I gotta say, the dice in this were kind of small, and they look kind of chalky. Not really sure what's going on with that. And then, of course, bases. Because, you know, gotta have the bases. It's all about that base. Anyway, the board and, of course, the transfers here. The transfers are a nice touch. Honestly, I've never used any of the transfers I've gotten. I've got a bunch of transfers laying around. I may actually use these, because the ones for the Krieg look really nice, but the ones for the orcs, there's a lot of symbology on there that I think is really neat. So I will probably end up using those. Now, of course, obligatory, I have to open the board. So regardless of anything else, have to say, I love the look of the Kill Team boards. There's usually quite a bit of detail on them. And honestly, I've used them more since I've never played Kill Team anyway. I've used them more for role-playing than I have for anything else. So the last time I used them was for a Savage Worlds game. It was a cyberpunk fantasy type deal. But these boards are definitely very wastelandish, like a shanty town or a junk town, because obviously it's orc terrain. But once again, I mean, say what you will about Games Workshop, but they pay attention to the details, and all the little stuff really kind of, for me, the little stuff matters. It's the little details inside of the product. So here we go. So we've got a nice view of at least some of the board here, and I really like the fact that there are Mechanicus pieces and even some I think that's Sector Sanctorum. I don't know, the names are weird for me. Anyway, so moving on, I actually have cracked open the Octarius box at this point, and decided to put some of the terrain together. Now, in the future, I think I'm going to run a live stream, and I'll probably, you know, put the terrain together and at least do a little bit of painting on a live stream. Now, I just wanted to demonstrate here how easy it is to put together this the Games Workshop terrain. I mean, for this stuff, the orc stuff, you don't really have to be all that detailed on the cleaning stage, because I mean, it's supposed to be run down. It's supposed to be, you know, a shanty town type deal, like an orc town. So obviously step one is to snip the sprues, but be careful when you're snipping. There are some pieces, as I indicated there, that you might accidentally think are part of the sprue connections, and it actually is not. There are some beams, some I-beams kind of sticking out at the bottom. Now, To make things simple, usually what I'll do is I'll trim off that excess amount of sprue there, because I don't want it getting in the way as I'm trying to pull other things off here. So this first piece here is a 4-piece build. It's got 2 walls of platform and the I-beam. And the I-beam is one of those pieces that I definitely have seen people indicating as kind of an issue for the glue points. So I have taken a page from some of the other people that I've seen, you know, doing this online, and I think I'm going to throw some sprue in there, just chuck a little piece of sprue underneath. But so here, once you cut all the pieces out of the sprue, pretty simple. Just, you know, kind of watch what you're cutting. But once you do that, you can move on to the cleaning stage. So what I usually do is what everybody else does is I will take I'll take the back of an X-Acto knife and I'll just kind of scrape those pieces off. And as you'll see here, there is actually quite a bit of mold lines on these things, which, I mean, tends to happen with the bigger pieces like the terrain or whatnot. And luckily with this terrain, at least, if you have some blemishes or whatnot, it actually kind of adds to the flavor of the terrain, in my opinion. So I don't think that's too big of a deal. As you can see here, I'm just kind of scraping, and that's it. If you've never put together terrain or models before, the cutting, scraping, and cleaning of mold lines and connection points for the plastic, where the plastic is, you know, runs through the molds, that's going to be the biggest part of what you do when you're putting stuff together. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, and we'll see how it looks. So now you see here the finished product on just that one piece, and if you see underneath there, I actually have added that piece of sprue I was talking about to just make the glue point a little more solid. Pop some super glue in there and shove it in there, and it's pretty good to go. Well, that was my first Octarius build, and a little bit of a ramble about skirmish gaming and piles of shame. So if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and I also have a Patreon now. I'll leave a link down in the description. Thank you.